Coming up today on Retire Right with Clifton Ross, healthcare, long-term care, and housing are almost sure to be big-ticket expenses for you in retirement. But will they be your biggest expense? Today, Clifton not only helps you identify what could be your largest retirement expense, but also ways to help you reduce that cost. And later, we'll test your retirement IQ. Plus, you'll walk away from today's show with actionable steps you can take today to help make a difference in your retirement. That is next. Retire Right with Clifton Ross starts right now.
Retirement is more than a destination. It's a journey that starts with a dream, a vision for the way you want to live, recharge, and give back. To get there, you need a plan to reach your retirement goals. Clifton Ross with Guardian Resources has the strategies you need to plan for income, taxes, healthcare, and more. For years, Clifton has been helping families plan for a successful retirement. Welcome to Retire Right with Clifton Ross.
Clifton, so great to be back here with you as we discuss some things. Retirement can be expensive, right?
It can get expensive.
So that is our topic today. So we're going to dive right into it here. So if it is not healthcare, if it is not long-term care, again, all of these very expensive, right? Or housing, what could be our biggest expense in retirement?
Surprise, surprise, taxes, taxes, taxes.
There it is again.
You know, we actually call it the retirement surprise because so often we get to people in the retirement years where they think that most of the things that they have to deal with is kind of baked in, and they realize they still have some tax frustration. They're just oftentimes paying more than they anticipated or thought they pay in retirement. And you can understand why, because for most of us, or I should say a lot of us, we accumulate in our working years with our 401k, and then maybe later on our IRA. And we're incentivized to do it. We're encouraged to do it. You know, you're in your 30s and the HR person says, make sure you open up that 401k. And your mom and dad say, make sure you open up that 401k. Yeah. So you're so proud of yourself. And that's not a bad thing to do. But what happens is that by the time you retire, for many of us, that's our largest pool of dollars. And it's all tax deferred. So we've not paid taxes on those dollars. So now you get into the retirement years. And then you realize now that if you utilize those dollars for income, those IRA pre-tax dollars, that now you've got to pay ordinary income tax on that. And you pay tax based on what the rates are at that time. And remember, tax rates do change. The brackets do change, sometimes more favorable, sometimes unfavorable. But in any case, probably not because of any input by you, right?
Right.
Congress. So this is the frustration. And now you start taking those dollars out and you realize that you might be in just as high of a tax bracket as you were when you were working. That tax, that saver surprise. Then you compound that with Social Security taxation, Medicare premiums, capital gain taxation. It all kind of turns into kind of this tax chain reaction. And many people in the retirement years start to think, should I or could I have done this any other way?
And it adds up fast.
Yes.
And I know we could probably spend hours talking about taxes. There are just so many aspects to dive into, but we'll hit the basics here today. So I want to talk about how some of the different sources of retirement income are taxed. I know you talked about it a little bit, but let's dive a bit deeper.
Well, if you go deeper and look specifically at Social Security, there's 3 brackets for Social Security taxation right now. There's a 0% bracket. There's also a 50% where 50% becomes taxable. And there's one that's 85% where 85% becomes taxable. And when you ask a lot of people, well, which bracket would they choose to be in if they had the election? They'd choose 0, right? But what determines the bracket that you're actually in, your actual percentage of Social Security taxation? Well, it's income. And then you have some of us that have pensions that we retire with. And I think on one side of the equation, you feel happy and grateful that you do have this pension. But on the other side of the equation, it does create kind of this locked in taxable income that then compounds when you add to that IRA withdrawals, add to that Social Security, right? So you see that tax chain reaction. And then you have just withdrawals from IRAs. You have annuity income. Some of us go into retirement with annuities, and annuities have a different kind of taxation. They're taxed as ordinary income. And then like we talked about capital gain. That's another one where there's 3 brackets of capital gain. There's a 0 bracket, which is maybe the one you would choose if you got to pick. But then there is a 15% tax. and there's also 20%. And the level that your capital gains are taxed is relative to other income. Well, all that money that we're taking out from the IRA, that's always taxed as income. So this becomes that surprise that people sometimes, it catches them off guard.
Yeah, I can see why. Are there any other important notes or aspects of thinking about taxes in retirement that our viewers need to know about?
Well, I think that you just have more control, I think, than we take for granted, especially early on, because you do choose what withdrawal or how much to take out of these accounts. And if you do that knowingly, you can actually control some of your taxation. I'll give you an example. Some time ago, we had a client of mine that called the office, and she wanted to withdraw money from her IRA to pay for a retaining wall, just some landscaping at her home. And it was about $20,000 in her case, right? You know, stuff is expensive.
Yeah.
And so she was just asking for $20,000 from her IRA account. Well, when we did our analysis, we discovered that certainly that money was there, but it would trigger tax on the money itself. And then it would cause that tax chain reaction that affects her Social Security taxation, maybe her capital gain taxation. And when you looked at the $20,000, it actually had a tax consequence that was pretty unfavorable to her. Or she could just take it from her checking account. And when I gave her that advice, she said, I'm so glad I called you because I was just going to take it from my IRA. So knowing how that next dollar is going to be taxed can become really important in controlling some of your taxation.
I think this highlights perfectly the importance of having the right financial team to talk things through, especially when you think about something like taxes. Things are changing all of the time as well, right? How important is it for you to have the right advisor?
I think when it comes to tax, it's really important to have the right advisor who's willing and able to talk about tax as it relates to strategy. Because what we see often is that people tell us when they come in, they say, well, if I have a financial advisor and I ask them about something that relates to taxes, they refer me to a CPA. Mm-hmm. But when I go to my CPA and talk about financial strategy as it relates to tax, they tell me to talk to my financial advisor. So they find themselves kind of in this vicious cycle. And that's because when we're getting tax done,
They say knowledge is power. Whatever you're doing, whatever your goals are, you'll probably never say you know too much. The same is true with retirement. The more you know, the more prepared you'll be for everything in store. And we've made it easy to get started. This free offer is packed with knowledge to help answer some of retirement's biggest questions. It's our gift to you. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Act now and claim your free offer today.
More is usually better, but not when it comes to taxes in retirement. Tax rates might seem high right now, but these could be the lowest rates you ever see again. Think how that could impact your retirement. The good news is there are strategies you can take advantage of now to help lower your tax bill later and help get the most out of what you've saved for retirement. But don't delay. Time is limited and rates could rise soon. So act now to get your free tax analysis. Help uncover hidden savings and optimize your income in retirement. Take action and claim your free tax analysis now.
In life, it's good to know what you have to work with. Knowing how many nails you have before building that birdhouse. Knowing how much sugar you have before starting to bake the cake. But do you know how much income you'll be able to count on in retirement? Retirement savings are one thing, but knowing how those savings can turn into income is another. Are you confident you know what your retirement income will look like? Call our team and get a free income analysis today. We can show you what you might expect for income in retirement. Find out now so you won't have to wander later. Call for your free analysis today.
I'm here with Clifton Ross, founder of Guardian Resources, and today we are talking all about helping our viewers understanding what possible tax implications can be when it comes to retirement. Again, there is really a lot to talk about here, but we want to especially stress some of those strategies to help us be more proactive when it comes to our taxes. So let's talk a little bit about what you mean by that.
So let's do that. So it really starts off with a mindset. We call it a tax forward mindset, because if you think about it, we're actually kind of conditioned to think tax backwards. For most Americans, we file taxes April 15th of the following year, right, for last year. Mm-hmm. So whatever happened back there, it's in the past. It's kind of too late. And so you'll have people that file their tax return and they cross their finger and they just hope that it's not so unpleasant. And if you realize that it is unpleasant, it's unfortunate, and they say the question many times is, why is my tax bill so high? And it's a legitimate question, but the timing is off.
Yeah.
It was last year. And the odds are really high that whatever behavior, if it was caused by some behavior unknown, right, unintentional, that we're going into the second part of the year. So you might be doing that already. So we're just kind of, that tax backwards has us just kind of chasing the tax reality. What we like to do is kind of reframe that and think tax forward. Because if you're proactive in starting to know and anticipate how will that next dollar be taxed, then you can be intentional about where you take that tax dollar from instead of just reactionary. So tax forward planning is really the first element to knowing that. And unfortunately, as we said earlier, sometimes our tax preparer, they're really just preparing the document. They're not really giving us the strategy to do that. So that strategy, you'll actually find it in your income plan, because this is all about creating, sourcing money, right? Mm-hmm. And if you source money arbitrarily, randomly, it's possible that you could be triggering taxes that you didn't have to trigger if you had known for sure, if I take $1 from my checking account, or if I take that $1 from my CDs, or if I take that $1 from my stocks, maybe that's capital gain tax versus income tax if I take it from my 401k or IRA. So how do we source that income? Creates the taxation, and having an income plan is what helps us to be proactive and anticipate more of what the tax outcomes are, so we're not as surprised at the end of the day. So
let's talk about what some of those strategies might be to help us reduce that tax bill in retirement.
Well, there's a few strategies. One strategy that a lot of people talk about today is actually taking IRA money that they know is still taxable, and instead of just continuing to incubate that for the future, actually doing conversions where you take the initiative to take that money and convert it to a Roth IRA, paying the taxes, but at least it's at levels that are there. You know what the effect is. You know if you can do more or less based on what brackets you're targeting. But the upside is that now that that's gone into the Roth account, that money can grow tax-free. And that could be tax-free income for you in the future. And one example of how that can be beneficial is, let's say that Social Security is taxed more in the future than it is now. And let's say that if you were to take withdrawals from your IRA, that might trigger an income that would cause your Social Security to become taxed higher. But if you have another source of income, let's say a Roth IRA, you might be able to take that money from the Roth, not trigger income tax, and stay at a lower Social Security bracket. When it comes to taxes in the future, having these strategies can be really beneficial. Another strategy is just timing withdrawals from your IRA. We know that when you withdraw money from IRAs, it creates taxation, and a lot of people just wait until the required distribution age. We've talked about that in previous shows. At a certain age, you're required to take money out. Well, you don't have to wait until that time. You can proactively determine, if I'm currently in a lower tax bracket maybe than I would be in the future, or I just have less income now because maybe I'm not in my working years, I can actually start integrating some of this money into my income right now, paying taxes currently at a lower rate. And at least I have more control. But once again, that's an income plan. And so we oftentimes encourage people to start looking at income plans to make sure that they're thinking ahead of time about taxes. And this is where it really helps to get a professional, qualified opinion to make sure you're not missing something, or that you're doing something causing taxation without really knowing that you're doing it.
You had mentioned, you might not want to wait or don't wait. And I think that is a strong theme throughout these shows of you actually have the power now to start making changes so that you're not waiting until it's too late? Because especially when we think about taxes, that could be thousands and thousands of dollars.
That's so true, Kelly. If you think about it, like early on, we're saving this money for retirement. And now that you get to the retirement years, what you realize is that, I mean, you were saving, but you were also incubating taxation in that money. And so it might actually be beneficial, instead of just incubating more into the future beyond retirement into the required distribution ages, to just be proactive about utilizing that for income ahead of time, because income does create taxes. There's Sarah, who she's in her 70s and she's still working at Orchestra Hall downtown, and she loves the hours, she loves the job. But what she didn't realize is because of the other withdrawals that she has to take along with the income from work, that's caused her Social Security to be taxed by 85%. Instead of maybe the 50% they would have been taxed if she didn't have all this earned income. So I think what people start to realize is that the more of this money that they take into the future, where taxes might actually be increased, well, today, if taxes are going to go up in the future, then that would imply that today they're on sale. And so maybe we should take the initiative to start reconciling some of this taxation while we still have more control.
If you're someone like Sarah, you actually have a roadmap that is customized to each individual that you work with, and taxes is a big component of that.
It's a huge component on it, which is why we actually developed the Retire Right Roadmap, where it takes a comprehensive approach to really creating your entire income strategy that includes taxation, so that we can be proactive about how should we invest, what should be the income withdrawal, and should we do Roth conversions to lower taxes in the future.
Yeah. Well, I know we've got a lot more to come, so straight ahead, Clifton is in the hot seat for Retirement IQ. And later, what are some simple ways that you can take action right now, ways to potentially reduce what those taxes could be for you in the future? Stay with us. We'll be right back after this.
They say knowledge is power. Whatever you're doing, whatever your goals are, you'll probably never say you know too much. The same is true with retirement. The more you know, the more prepared you'll be for everything in store. And we've made it easy to get started. This free offer is packed with knowledge to help answer some of retirement's biggest questions. It's our gift to you. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Act now and claim your free offer today.
More is usually better, but not when it comes to taxes in retirement. Tax rates might seem high right now, but these could be the lowest rates you ever see again. Think how that could impact your retirement. The good news is there are strategies you can take advantage of now to help lower your tax bill later and help get the most out of what you've saved for retirement. But don't delay. Time is limited and rates could rise soon. So act now to get your free tax analysis. Help uncover hidden savings and optimize your income in retirement. Take action and claim your free tax analysis now.
Your dream car, the open road, and freedom. It's just one turn away. Or so you thought. Even when things look good, hidden problems can ruin your plans. Think of your retirement. At first glance, your investments might seem solid, but under the hood, what kind of risk are you exposed to? And what about taxes, income, healthcare costs? Don't let your retirement dreams stall out. Act now and get your free risk analysis to help keep you in the retirement fast lane.
It is now time to put our knowledge to the test with this week's Retirement IQ. Clifton, do the lights in the studio feel a little hot right now?
They are getting sweaty for
Yeah?
me. Yes.
All right, well, let's get cooking then, shall we? So we have talked a lot today, I know, about taxes, how they impact you, and what you can do about it going forward. So our trivia questions today will be all about taxes.
Okay, let's go.
So trivia question number 1. True or false, Social Security is a tax-free source of income in retirement?
Well, wouldn't that be lovely?
Oh,
yes.
what a vacation.
Sadly, it's not. It used to be, but it's not. Social Security is taxed, and there's 3 brackets for Social Security taxation. There is a 0 bracket, though. So based on income, Social Security, you can't, there is some Social Security that's not taxed. But 50% of it can be taxed, or 85% of it can be taxed relative to other income. So a lot of Americans do pay taxes on Social Security, I'm sure they'll be happy to affirm that.
Am I dreaming or is it a nightmare? I feel like 0 to 50% is like there's no middle area, right? It's just like straight to 50.
You cross the line and you're going to pay.
There it is, or 85%. So again, I think it's just another perfect reason of why you want to make sure that you're paying attention to these kinds of things so it doesn't creep up until it's too late.
So it's not like 0.5.
Right? Exactly. Yeah, 0
So
to
you
50.
gotta watch the line.
All right, well, question number 2, true or false again for you. California first imposed the jock tax against athletes from other states in 1991 after Chicago beat Los Angeles in the championship.
So I vaguely know this a little bit, so I'm going to take a guess on this answer.
Guess away.
And it is California. They do like their taxes. So I'm going to have to guess yes. I think the odds are pretty high.
It is true.
Of course it is.
Yeah, I mean, I guess get it where you can, right?
No, this doesn't broadcast in California, right?
Well, no, it doesn't. You're
Okay,
safe
good.
there.
Safe in
So
Minnesota.
prying eyes will not
Right here
see
with my
this.
people, we get it.
Illinois enacted a similar law to tax players who came to Chicago. It didn't take long, of course, before other states followed suit. And I know you've spent some time in Chicago too, but this is something, not as an athlete.
No, it's not a jock.
You don't have to worry about tax that way.
Yeah, I was the guy who cleaned the jock's clothes. No, I didn't do that.
This is how rumors get started.
Yeah, but no.
Trivia question number 3, true or false? West Virginia charges a safety fee on top of regular sales tax when you buy fireworks.
Another guess, because they live in West
Why not?
Virginia. But I would say yes, because fireworks are very dangerous, and every year people get blown. They lose body parts
That is true.
to fireworks.
A safety,
So
and do you
kids,
know,
be careful.
so there is a safety fee, and to add a little bit to that, 12% safety fee in addition to the sales tax rate. So the revenue goes to the state's Fire Protection Fund and Veterans Facility Support Fund.
All right.
So
Well-
it's going somewhere, right? Other than maybe just the government.
It is.
But
And maybe to discourage you from buying fireworks.
which I'm okay with. I
Yeah.
think wasting money and maybe that's your good retirement advice too. Don't spend it all on fireworks because it can add up. All right, our last question is true or false as well. The IRS tax code is nearly 10,000 pages long.
So I know that's false. If only it were 10,000 pages long. It's closer to like 75,000 pages, if you can believe that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then we talk about this as well. It's 75,000 pages, and you get the pleasure of being able to stay on top of at least the big things that are impacting retirees,
I
right?
read
How do you
over
do it?
toast in the morning each day.
Yeah, I bet.
No, it's a lot to keep up with. And that's why people need help navigating this stuff.
At least it's not at bedtime, because I think that would probably put you to
It would
sleep
put
real
everybody to
fast.
sleep, yeah.
All right, well, still to come, you will learn some of the simple steps that you can take today to potentially help you improve your situation. Great job, by the way. Because how useful is knowledge without action? Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
More is usually better, but not when it comes to taxes and retirement. Tax rates might seem high right now, but these could be the lowest rates you ever see again. Think how that could impact your retirement. The good news is there are strategies you can take advantage of now to help lower your tax bill later and help get the most out of what you've saved for retirement. But don't delay. Time is limited and rates could rise soon. So act now to get your free tax analysis. Help uncover hidden savings and optimize your income in retirement. Take action and claim your free tax analysis now.
They say knowledge is power. Whatever you're doing, whatever your goals are, you'll probably never say you know too much. The same is true with retirement. The more you know, the more prepared you'll be for everything in store. And we've made it easy to get started. This free offer is packed with knowledge to help answer some of retirement's biggest questions. It's our gift to you. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Act now and claim your free offer today.
In life, it's good to know what you have to work with. Knowing how many nails you have before building that birdhouse. Knowing how much sugar you have before starting to bake the cake. But do you know how much income you'll be able to count on in retirement? Retirement savings are one thing, but knowing how those savings can turn into income is another. Are you confident you know what your retirement income will look like? Call our team and get a free income analysis today. We can show you what you might expect for income in retirement. Find out now so you won't have to wonder later. Call for your free analysis today.
Thank you so much for joining us today on Retire Right with Clifton Ross. I think we learned a lot and maybe learned just how complex this tax world can be. So I know we've shared some knowledge, and now it's up to you to put it into place.
Well, knowledge with action is power.
Yeah.
And so I always like to end the show with 3 action steps that people can take to try to get as much control from a tax standpoint as possible. So action step number 1 is to know how much tax deferred income you have. And oftentimes I see where people haven't really added all those up together, right? They might have a 401k, but you might have an IRA in a different account, and you might have an old 401k from a different employer. All that comes together to equate what you're going to have to pay taxes on in the future. So take them time and really do an inventory of all of your pre-tax dollars, and it helps you get an idea of at least your income tax potential in the future. But then that's not the only tax, because you also have capital gain, right? And your capital gain is a different schedule, but it's capital gains relative to real assets, right? Your real estate capital gains, right? Your equity could be capital gain under certain exclusions. Stocks and bonds and mutual funds could be capital gain. This is all the profit, and that's taxed on its own schedule. A lot of people that I talk to, when I ask them, let's take a look at what capital gain you're carrying, sometimes they don't know. And so, well, that's profit is taxable to a certain extent in the future. And so what capital gain are you carrying? So that would be number 2, right? Number 1 is ordinary income tax based on these balances. Number 2 is capital gain. And number 3 is maybe consider a health savings account, an HSA, contributing to an HSA. A couple of benefits of contributing to an HSA, it's actually kind of 3 real benefits, call it kind of the triple benefit, is that whatever you contribute to a health savings account lowers your taxable income in that year. And now you can invest those dollars to grow tax-free. And then if you use them for qualified health benefit or health costs in the future, you don't pay taxes on that. So it could be a really effective way to lower taxable income and then use this for expenses in the future that you're not taking tax money to pay. You got this tax-free money you're paying for, but that game only works till age 65. So if you're younger than 65, I think it's a really important thing to maybe consider. So as a bonus, because if you're over 65, you're taking Social Security, Medicare, that doesn't qualify anymore. It would just be that Roth conversion. Understanding, could that benefit you? Could that work for you as a strategy to have more tax deferred income, or pay the tax now and have tax free income into the future? And for those that have questions about that, stuck, feel free to reach out to my team at Guardian Resources, because we love having this conversation and giving guidance about these kind of things.
Yeah, if only we had more time in the show, but we are out of time. So if you want to continue the conversation, you know that you can reach out to Clifton and his team. And that retirement landscape constantly changing. Clifton and his team here to stay on top of all of the latest news so you can spend your time doing what you love with the people who matter most to you. For Clifton and the team at Guardian Resources, I'm Kelly Dame. Have a great week. We'll see you right back here next time.